For this man to come out and say that his legacy does not matter, all these things that he had to say was a part of a script. Okay? All praises to the Most High, Yeshua Jesus Christ. For someone to come out, especially if they're in a position, a historical position, a position that has major influence despite their past, this is a position that can definitely be put in a vulnerable state. And I say this at this time because for him to have said this, and for him to, in addition to that, be paraded about bare, okay? In addition to that, for him to look, in a sense, defeated, for somebody to be known as a champion, to have this presence of defeat on his face, it calls into question, is your legacy up for sale as his was? And I'm saying this at this time because often, people are looking at the end result. They're seeing how somebody may act, or how somebody may be susceptible to certain environments, to vices, to people offering them a particular salary or dollar amount in order to say or do certain things. But this starts in childhood. Okay, if you're familiar with his background story, he had a lot of horrible things, horrific things that happened to him when he was just a small boy. And although he's he's a grandfather now at this point, but there's still that, for me, I can pick up on the little boy within him. And so that lack of truly having self-value and self-worth, a lot of that was chipped away or stripped from him when he was just a small boy. And there is a quote, I can't remember who said this quote, but the quote is, it is much easier to raise boys into men. How does it, hold on, let me get it right. It's easier to raise boys into men than try to repair broken men, or something to that point. Y'all get the point of what I'm trying to say. So basically, this is something that we can draw inspiration from. Although it may look as if he was defeated in this so-called fight, we all know the truth. Sometimes if people are not in a position to actually win against you, they may try to align just so that they can historically say that they somehow was able to overcome you. Okay, so this was about not only humiliating him, but this was about major energy harvesting. There were so many people that tuned into this, and although they tried to say that it was nothing about race, it was definitely about that. How could it not be? But that's a form of gaslighting. To do the most obvious, obnoxious things, but yet when you call it out, to completely deny it. So it's pretty much similar games, similar forms of bug breaking, but remixed for modern times. And so I saw a lot of defeat on his face. Even though I did not watch this, the clips that I did see were really cringy. Like, he held back. He was biting on his gloves. Let's be real. If they're trying to further the mindset or the type of perspective out there that men that are melanated, are easily defeated, it was a definite cheap shot. Jake Paul is in his 20s. Mike Tyson is almost 60 years old. So you have to get a man that is a grandfather, rig the game in order to make you feel superior. You have to really consider that. Consider how desperate that is to try to make people feel as if they're on the losing end. So we all know who's actually was at a loss, because the whole hype of it all was really unfulfilling. There was no true satisfaction. Even Jake Paul, at the conclusion of this, looked like, dag, like, although it may look as if he won, he left feeling inadequate because he know there's a lot of inadequacy that went on. So I'm not going to get too much in this because I know this is a men's thing or whatever, but as someone that is raising future men, this could be an example for those of you that have boys. You need to feed positive energy into your sons. You need to speak life into them because the world is hell-bent on breaking them down. There must be something really great innately in them for them to really try their hardest to even get him to be paid to put out the perspective that legacy, I don't have a legacy, I'm nothing. Like, dang, really? Really? You're really going to be out here saying this when you are actually a historical champion? Wow. But it really gives insight into the things that this man has emotionally, spiritually, mentally experienced. For him to, at this point, his only concern is making sure his family is okay. And if that means jeopardizing his integrity and his dignity, so be it. So when we begin to realize that we have an ability to change the dynamic, if you see, even if you're someone that you may not have boys, okay? You may have nephews, you may come in contact with young boys, be kind to them because the world got a chip on their shoulder about them, for sure. So I just wanted to come in and give my little 2 cents. I wanted to yap a little bit about this because it was really, really affecting my spirit. Like, wow. Although they say that certain systems are over with, yet they're still doing some level of buck breaking on a massive scale. Because let me just put this little tidbit in here, and those of you that want to forget, okay? When they would buck break our men, they would make sure they get the most, the one that looks the most intimidating, and make sure everybody is around to see them humiliate him or hurt him or violate him. And this was a form of that. That is just a new age version of that. And so my heart really goes out to him and his family, that although they may have a certain amount of money in their account, what has happened was really despicable, and it shows the level that society is in, a very weakened position. I want to definitely just leave that here for now, and until next time, like and subscribe. Bye-bye.